Oh, are we on? Hello there, Kenny Zook here, or Scott as I'm called by friends and family, like Sydney over there, was given to me by my son Pete, and many others from my childhood. Hence this section. Welcome back to Jokes My Sister Made Me Tell in Public. I've decided to do a montage today in response to a request which came cleverly disguised by adding a comment saying not to construe it as a request. So of course I've decided to add a couple into the montage as well, and the real reason for it being a montage will eventually become clear. First, I'm going to lead off with my sister's new favorite joke, how to amuse God. Tell him your plans. I'm going to follow that up just to give you some context as to what to expect in this segment, kids. My sister's old favorite joke. What's the difference between a duck? Both feet are different the same. I don't get it either. Never did. Now I'm going to go on to one that's one of my favorite jokes and Terry's as well. There was this guy. He had a huge pile of bricks. He thought, golly, what should I do with this huge pile of bricks? I know, I'll build a house. So he built a house, but he still had a lot of bricks left over. So he said, well, what shall I do with the rest of these bricks? I know, I'll build a garage. So he built a garage, and he still had some bricks left over. He thought, well, what shall I do? He thought, well, I'll build a shed. So he built a shed, and he still had quite a few bricks. So he thought, what shall I do with the rest of these bricks? And he built a doghouse. And when he finished the doghouse, he had one brick. So he threw it up in the air. Okay. I do know why that one's funny. I'm still in therapy. Next, the dreaded. Green side up. No, I'm leaving that one out of the lineup entirely. Sorry, Terry. The dreaded green side up. This man's doing some improvements on a house, and he's walking through with the client and taking notes, and the client says, paint this room here blue. Okay, takes a note, goes over, opens the window, sticks his head out, and says, green side up. Closes the window. They go on to the next room. The man says, paint this room pink. And the fellow takes a note and goes to the window, opens it up, and says, green side up. Says, okay, next room. And the guy says, not till you tell me what the heck green side up means. He looks at the client and says, I got the town dummy from Peeled Oak, Kentucky, HC, out here laying sod, and I just have to make sure I remind him every so often. Okay. Next up, the Foo Bird. The Foo Bird was a golden bird, a huge golden bird, and it flew ceaselessly, endlessly over the land in a place far, far away, long, long ago. So far away that it's impossible that you could verify this story. I happen to know that it's true, but it was probably like in another galaxy or something. Because, well, the Foo Bird flew ceaselessly over the land, never lighting, never landing, never eating, and yet able to poop prolifically. And it was said that if the poop of the Foo Bird landed on you, contacted your skin, that you must wear it forever. Because to wash it off is to die. And now wash it off is to suffer pretty miserably, because whoo boy does the stuff stink. They got machines that they clean it up with, because they couldn't even live there otherwise. But, they lived there because... And one day, the hero of our story, who's probably has a name and a position and would be engaging if I bothered to develop the character, but I'm trying to get on with a stupid story, was walking through the land and the Foo Bird snuck up on him, and he didn't have his umbrella up, and the Foo Bird just pooped full load right straight on top of his head, covered his entire body. And he lived with it, actually, for a couple of years. He had no friends at all. And eventually, just out of loneliness, decided, you know what? I can't stand it. I'm washing this stuff off. So he washed it off and he died instantly, just like the legend said. Just goes to show if the poo shits, wear it. Terry made me do this. All right, so now I'm going to talk about another true story of a fascinating people, also very far away. And you've never heard of them before because it's that far. And they're the people called the Trids. The Trids were sort of hobbit-like almost, maybe a little taller and not so hairy on the feet. And while they were prone to have like orgies a lot on this mountain in their land, they would all go up on the mountain and have an orgy, and it'd been going on for centuries. It was just, I mean, I'm not, endorsing this kind of behavior. I'm just saying that was the conditions that they lived under. So and after centuries of having these parties up on the mountain, one time in the middle of their party, this ogre came, and the ogre kicked all the Trids off the mountain. Just bam, 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 kicked them all right down the hill. A lot of injuries, a lot of people in the hospital, and missed a couple of orgies just waiting for people to heal up. And they finally got back up there for their next orgy, and here came the ogre and kicked them all off. And, they all screamed at him and tried to reason with him all the way through the kicking every single time. And they were stuck with the situation where it's like, well, we don't want to give up our lifelong or generations old traditions, but, this is going to be, hospital bills are running us up. They started looking for everything answer that they could find. And finally someone said, well, maybe we need to consult a religious man. So someone went down the road to the next town and found a rabbi and brought him back. And the rabbi was told about the situation. And he was like, well, it's not my thing really kind of protecting orgies. I mean, we don't endorse that, but Rabbi, the violence, you should be against violence. I don't think I should do that. Rabbi will pay $10,000 for just one night to come up and ask this ogre what his problem is and how we can appease him. Oh, well, you didn't tell me that. Okay, sure. For that much, I'll be happy to attend your orgy. I'm not participating. So up the mountain they go. They have their orgy. Out comes the ogre. He kicks every last Trid off and leaves the rabbi sitting. Just starts walking off. The rabbi says, hey. The ogre, well, he probably said, oi, but, oh no, that's Australia. But the ogre turned around and said,
Yes?
and the rabbi said, what about me? And the ogre said,
What about you?
and the rabbi said, well, wait, what about me with the kicking and stuff? Why you kick all the trids off the mountain? Is it their orgies? Are you that offended by sex? And the ogre says,
No, not at all.
and the rabbi says, well, so why you kick all the trids off the mountain and you don't do anything about me? And the ogre says,
Silly rabbi, kicks are for trids.
I actually like that joke. I'm not going to apologize to anybody for it. All right, I got one last joke in the montage. No, I have two. I have a joke that Grandpa Zook told. This man gets on a bus, and he sits down beside a lady with a poodle on her lap. And the poodle begins barking furiously because he doesn't like the man's cigar, which he is smoking. And the lady says, please put out your cigar. And the man says, I have no intention of putting out my cigar. And the lady grabbed his cigar and flung it out the window of the bus. The man, angered, grabbed the lady's dog and flung it out the window of the bus. And the lady screamed, and an argument ensued, and they got to the next bus stop, and the doors opened up, and in ran the dog. And what do you think he had in his mouth? No, it wasn't the cigar. It was his tongue. That was Grandpa's joke. Now I'm going to tell a version of that joke that Harry and I have. There was this man and his lady sitting at a bus stop waiting for a bus. The man was smoking a cigar. The lady had a parrot. The parrot was squawking madly, angered by the cigar. The lady says, please put out your cigar. The man said, I have no intention of doing so. We are out of doors. It is perfectly legal. The lady grabbed the man's cigar and flung it up in the air across the fence that they were standing by. So the man grabbed the lady's bird cage and flung it across, and the cage crashed on the wall, broke open, and the bird flew off. And moments later, the bird flew back. And what do you think it had in its mouth? No, not the cigar. No, not his tongue. The brick. Terry made me do this. That's why she put up the comment saying, don't construe this as a request. Gotcha. God's best and brightest to you and yours.